Kill me. Oh boy, welcome back to Wizarding Wednesdays. That's right, we're back with the Doctor and the Wizard. That's like you know, Doctor Strange and Peter Parker right there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's kind of what that is, isn't it?
wow,
It's very very interesting.
$10 just for being here. Look at that, Mr.
Wow.
OG. Why don't you pop on here, OG? Although I know you don't know much about Six Flags, but he can still pop on. Thank you,
Hey,
thank you, thank you.
I hope you don't get offended, Wizard. I did invite him, so if
Well,
time obviously is permitting, we'd love to have you on, OG. But hey, on behalf of Wizard
you
here,
better
thank you
pop
so much for the
on.
super chat. Seriously.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Seriously, you better pop on. You're right here. I'll just send the link anyway. But
Yeah, go ahead and start that process now. That way you can pop in if you'd like to.
what should we call it? But yeah, so we have, speaking of
Yes.
OG55, Dr. Dre. Where can we find you?
Well, the best place to find me is going to be on Twitter at Vashka. It's right down there, just down below. As Christine Waysons McCarthy would say, for all the robust discussion, you can definitely engage in it right there. And if you want to see more of me, well, you can go ahead and do so on our lovely donor here on his YouTube channel at Orange Grove 55, where you can find shows like Citrus Corner with Disney Family Man George, Orange Nerd with OG, and my own show on there, Freshly Squeezed. Your source for juicy news and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove. And because we're on, what did you brand this Wizard Wizard Wednesday? Let's go ahead
That's
and do
right.
something that the Wizard would quite like. There you go. Casual, good to see you. But glad to be here, Wizard. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's funny. I just bought a Voldemort wand and engraved it with my name. I should have brought it out. I could have been. Wow, that's a perfect thing to zoop 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 to. By the way, Orange Grove and I are in competition because on their live, I donated 75 or like $100 total, and
Yes.
so now he's doing $10. So that means on your next live, I have to do $50. So I'm gonna win this competition. But
Oh
thank you
man.
so much, OG. Oh, yeah, I hope so. If not, then I'm not getting my pass. Just kidding, I will. But I miss painting.
No,
Not,
I think to Albert's point here, do you ever think Peyton Night Parade will ever come back to Disneyland? Disneyland Park, I don't know, but DCA very very likely. They still have those floats. They still have a lot of those costumes. I know they're retooling the show in order to make it a little bit less of a maintenance nightmare and to be a little bit more performer friendly. So I have no doubt they'll bring it back in some form. It's just a matter of when, not really a matter of if.
how about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? You want to bring it back tomorrow?
Yeah.
A little too soon there. A little, just a little aggressive there, Wizard, with the timeline. I think it might be a little while. I know the recent SEC statement that Disney filed. They revealed that the number of employees, that includes cast members, has improved much since the downsizing that occurred in 2020, as we all know. But they're still not there yet, and until those cast levels improve, both from kind of day-to-day cast members and from a performance level. Let's wait until at least those things before we make any statements as to whether, when these things might improve.
You know what? I'll just go and perform the show myself. Come on now. Are the floats? Yes, they are. They're in the
Yes.
storage area.
Yeah, they're in the offsite storage area. They're all there. I think Fresh Baked, if I can mention him real fast. I believe he got some photos or had photos sent to him, which revealed that at least the what is it, the Incredibles float was still in
wrapped up.
storage.
You saw the little thing sticking out. That little
Right.
that little drill type
Yeah.
thing.
So they're still here with us. So they haven't shipped over to Walt Disney World or Paris or anything. They're still here with us, and by all accounts, will be coming back someday. Like I said, it's a question of if not. I'm sorry, when, not if.
Just know for you, if they ever get shipped to Walt Disney World, I'll intercept the flight and I'll force the plane to turn around myself. So,
Um,
yeah, Bob Iger, don't even try.
Wizard, that kind of behavior is frowned upon. I wouldn't quite go that far unless you wanted to put on some list. But I don't think it'll ever come to that point. Don't worry. The Disneyland Resort is they like to hold on their parades for dear life. They don't like sharing them, and that seems to be a consistent pattern. So I think we're okay. Look, I would be happy. I'd be happy just to get Magic Happens back. And I know it's not everybody's favorite parade. We were talking about the pre-show leading up to this show, Wizard, that it's not everybody's favorite parade. There are problems, all that kind of stuff. But how many parks can right now, both Disney or otherwise, can actually say they have a daytime parade on a regular basis? Not many. So we should be happy and thankful for what we are receiving and in these kind of times that are tumultuous, to say the least.
Well, one park that would be happy to have a daytime parade and has the space for it is not even open on most weekdays. That's Six Flags. But
let's get into it.
They have a big area there for a parade. But yeah, good old Six Flags. As of this speaking right now, it's not open during the holiday season. Ouch! It's open during the 3-week period of winter break, though, December 16th to January 10th.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a 9th. But yeah, it's closed now. Open Thursday through Sundays. Their holiday in the park is on Thursday through Sunday. But on Thursday, the park is only open till 5 p.m. So you have 1 hour, actually 15 minutes to see those lights because that's all it gets dark for. And then Friday, it's only open till 6. And then 9 on the weekend. But wow, that's great. But when it is open, can you ride anything? I don't know. A lot of the show the 20 world record 20 roller coasters. You got 4 of them are kiddie coasters, but then actually 2 major coasters were open. So really, you got 2 out of 16 coasters open, and I think only 1 kiddie coaster. So 3 out of 20 coasters open, and someone's paying $120 for a day ticket, or whatever they pay for a pass, and it's not even open the whole day. I mean, I see a lot of people on the Six Flags Facebook group saying they're not gonna renew their pass, and I don't blame me for this. Albert, you go right up the mountain beanpole, be a staircase. But yeah, I don't blame them for not renewing, because a couple of those coasters, according to Screamscape Rumor, are in trouble, as in Riddlers and Scream have blew up their lift motors, and they will be closed until next year. But the park's maintenance budget, according to the rumors from Screamscape, only has the budget to buy 1 lift motor. So that means one of them will be opening in early 2023, and the second one will be opening probably late next year. I'd suggest they reopen Riddler's, kind of front and center, and Scream kind of off to the side. But that's up to them if that is indeed true, because they can only get 1 lift motor, and they're already on back order. That means they have to do the whole process twice for that those 2 particular attractions. There's no new rides so far in 2023. Oh boy! And for January, the park will only be open on Saturday and Sunday, which is even worse than when it was back in before the Fee 65. They're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but never just Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. I had never heard of a Southern California theme park actually having seasonal operation like this. I mean, usually those are reserved for parks back east because of the weather. I mean, that's the only thing that really keeps them closed for lengths of time out of the year. Them going to a kind of more seasonal operation for Six Flags Magic Mountain in beautiful Southern California. Valencia, a little hot, but I mean, otherwise nice during these times of the year. To have them be closed like this is really astounding. I mean, this really says something about the operation management of these theme parks. I was just looking at their recent quarterly earnings report as released earlier this month, and it's not good. It's not good, Wizard. It really is not good. When it comes to actually theme park expenditures, only being able to get one lift motor, that actually doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I guess the annual capital expenditure amount, where for Disney it's in the billions. Here it's only like 130 million, and a lot of that is on beautification. And Salim Basul did mention some infrastructural improvements, but it's just not a lot, and especially when you have 15 parks around the nation. This is quite concerning. The other concerning things, obviously, so they compared this quarter to last year's Q3 results. So it's a year-to-year type situation here. Net income attributable to Six Flags Entertainment down 26% from 2021. Q3 net income per share diluted down 23%. From last year around the same time. Even attendance. 2021 was not a great year for theme parks attendance-wise. We all know and remember that. Even that was down 33% from 12 million to now 8 million, which even in 2019, I think they were at 14 million, if I'm not mistaken. So this is heading in the wrong direction. Per cap spend was up 17% to about $60, it looks like. Admission spending per capita was up, obviously, because they had risen prices. $34, up 22%. In-park spending per cap up again 12% to $26. That's all great and dandy, but when you consider that that per cap spend is per person revenue and your per person amount is down, This is really not good. And just to give people some perspective on what these numbers actually mean, because I think a lot of people are kind of used to Universal or Disney numbers, right? We want to go ahead and compare to Six Flags. Now, a lot of this information actually comes from Attraction Ideas on YouTube, so I want to go ahead and give them a shout out here. But compared to Cedar Fair, which has 11 parks, and Six Flags, that has 15 parks. That's kind of a direct competition, so I think it's a good judgment as to what these numbers actually mean. Revenue for Cedar Fair was $1.45 billion. Six Flags, $1.08 billion. Attendance at Cedar Fair, again, 11 parks versus 15, 21 million, 21.6 million versus 16.4 million. That is not good at all. Spending per cap was $61.24 for Cedar Fair, and for Six Flags it was 63.63 cents. So a little bit higher for Six Flags, but remember their attendance is way less than it is at Cedar Fair. Even their net income was, Six Flags was $96 million. For Cedar Fair, $295 million. That's a per park income of $26 million for Cedar Fair versus $6 million for Six Flags. And I believe that's going back the last 11 months is the time frame on those numbers. This is horrible. This is really, really not good. What surprised a lot of people was that the stock didn't actually go down precipitously after this announcement. In fact, it actually went up. And people might be asking, why did it go up $3 a share on earnings day that day? And apparently it's because an activist investor group, H Partners, increased their ownership of the of Six Flags stock from, looks like, 14% to 19%. So that might be a hostile takeover. That might be other things and so forth like that. But I guess investors were looking at that and wanting to get in on that action. So I wouldn't necessarily listen to that stock price. The numbers, the actual underlying figures here, they are really bad. And Salim Basul and his reasoning, it again still didn't make sense. But after all of that, what do you have to say?
You know, as told you before, I was like, how many quarters he has left? I gave him a maximum of 2, which would be what, springish 2023 or spring summer ish.
Yeah.
And how many quarters do you think he has left before he gets the JPEG?
Well, you see, this is very, very interesting because, I mean, he feels, I think, that he has more time left than he might realize. So I guess they have a goal of 25 million or 27 million guests per year. And again, I mean, they're in like the they're not even in double digits in terms of the million guest factor per year. So they're in a rough they're in a rough spot right now. I guess that was for the quarter. So I guess per year. I mean, they're in like the teens. They're nowhere even close to 25 million to 27 million. But he had this to say about that. He says, and we look forward at them and making sure that a portion of those will come to our park by focusing and targeting them. I guess he's talking about the guests in this quote. Now, where do we stand on the timing of reaching the 25 to 27 million guests per year? I think we always say that it's a 3-year process. We feel that within the next 3 years, we'll reach that target. Well, you're not heading in the right direction, so I don't know why you're necessarily giving yourself those projections. But, it sounds like another CEO, Wizard, that we know that has these kind of long range estimates, right? That they're looking to reach a certain target metric for one of their business operations by a certain threshold. Does that remind me of a certain person called Bob Chapek over there at Disney who suggests that they're going to have 200 and some odd million subscribers for their entire DTC segment by Q4 of 2024, and they're thinking they're going to reach profitability and all this kind of stuff. Well, only a couple days after he made those comments, he's gone. So when you're looking at Salim Basul, who, by the way, just recently replaced his predecessor, I believe in late 2020, early 2021, who he himself only had about 2 years at the helm, or less than that. I think he was made CEO in 2019. Six Flags. Look, Disney, they might, be a little bit more, let's say, they might be slower to transition, and we know how fast they can be, but they might overall be a little bit slower to transition than Six Flags is. Six Flags seems to move awfully fast, and they want results now. Honestly, Wizard, I agree with you. I think he's got 2 quarters to figure this out, realistically, because you cannot have this quarter after quarter decline in terms of both revenue. I'm sure guest experience is affected, or guest satisfaction is affected, right? Yes, higher per cap spending, but lower attendance and so forth. You can't have this. This cannot continue. And 2 quarters. That's it.
And keep in mind that the price continues to increase. Now, see, I know over there at Disney and not really Universal, but Disney, they're like, oh my goodness, the price is increasing, and my experience is dwindling with the little add-ons. But imagine if you price increased and you go to the park on one of the 3 days it's open, and then every single roller coaster besides 2, what you're known for, is closed.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I'd want an immediate refund. I mean, if you bought a 1-day ticket for that, that's crazy. You spend $120 or whatever it is, and you go on 2 rides. Like, you have 20 rollers. That's crazy. Imagine that happened at Disney and Universal. They'd go. Everyone would be ballistic. That would be hit national headlines. That would be insane. Like, when I saw the little that thing I just screenshot, the app, I was like, wow. Even the bumper cars were closed. Could the bumper cars be closed?
Oh my goodness gracious. That is absolutely insane. OG55, the esteemed OG55, chimes in here. Six Flags can't afford to push fans away. Disney has a dedicated fan base, so there is more wiggle room for therefore mistakes. I do agree with him, of course. This Six Flags CEO needs to go. I do appreciate the comments, OG, and the compliments for sure. Can't wait to have you on, brother, and talk a little bit about this because I think you're right. I think he's right. Listen, yeah, I mean the product that they offer right now is just it's bad. It's not good. And Salim Basul talks about this premiumization. Oh, we're this beautification of the park, and rides. We don't need rides. We have enough attendance capacity. What we need is to spend more on infrastructure, to spend more on this, spend more on that. And it's like, well, are you necessarily even doing that? I mean, look, if you don't want to invest in new rides, I wouldn't have had that advice for him if I was an advisor. However, that's what you're going to do. But you have to at least keep the attractions that you have operational, which, by the way, to be fair, Six Flags is not the only theme park out there contending with this specific issue. A lot of these big time coasters, I don't know if folks understand, but they require parts all the time, even after so many miles that a coaster car actually goes around the track. They have to have all their wheels replaced, for example, and these require constant upkeep. And I know there's been a lack of maintenance technicians across the entire industry. That's been kind of a huge problem. But also, too, let's not understate that, where these parts actually come from. They're experiencing their own issues. That is leading to this kind of supply crisis that we're still experiencing, even after the events of 2020, even though we're so far removed. I don't know if any of you guys have seen, but I guess there's a certain country that's had some protesting break out in a number of cities, 13 cities to be exact, and about 15 regions of that certain country amongst almost 80 universities. Included in that, by the way, people there are unhappy, and even though the government has tried to, let's say, incentivize work, and I'll put incentivize in quotes because it's more like compel, it has created some really bad supply side issues when it comes to the not just theme park industry but industry in general. And so I think that is also playing a factor in terms of the downtime that we're seeing at Magic Mountain itself.
Yeah, and for theme park catch, I want to comment on Knott's thing. This one, I don't think it's particularly Knott's fault per se, as that's more of a Top Thrill Dragster issue, I believe. Same type of coaster, and that's why they had to kind of shut all of them down, and they're kind of for an investigation. Otherwise, Knott's seems to be pretty good on their maintenance. But for Accelerator, yeah, we're just waiting on Top Thrill Dragster for that one. I think it itself could be ready to go whenever that Top Thrill Dragster situation, which they're tearing down, is fixed.
I got an annual pass for the. I believe I got it in November of 2021, so I think it just expired here in November of 2022. Mm-hmm. And during the entire time, I had a pass for Knott's Berry Farm. Accelerator, whenever I visited, wasn't open. I have never ridden on that coaster. As many times as I've gone to Knott's Berry Farm, I've never ridden on Accelerator. That tells you how bad that upkeep is, and some of that is the falling out between Intamin and Cedar Fair. That's kind of a amongst coaster enthusiasts, that's well known that they are necessarily on speaking terms right now. Also, too, it's the maintenance issue, right? It's these parts that are kind of hard to come by, and I think that was one of the main decisions why Cedar Point decided to actually get rid of Top Thrill Dragster as we know it, because like you said, Wizard, it is of that same ilk as Accelerator and King the Ka. I think they got rid of it because it was becoming a maintenance drag, utilizing parts that were kind of prototype, that were, maybe not necessarily the best for that specific application, and so forth. I think they've wanted to tackle that problem for a while, and this most recent accident that they had on Top Thrills Dragster was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Let's say. Did you hear, by the way? Am I correct in? Did you hear rumors about this, Wizard, that was it Zamperla might be involved in this
Oh
Top
yes,
Thrill Dragster reimagining?
which would be very interesting. I definitely heard about it. I think they've even posted something like a little tease. I'm very interested to see what the dragster has in store for
Yeah,
Cedar
I think
Point.
one of the initiatives is going to be reducing maintenance, reducing downtime as a result of that maintenance, and maybe even increasing guest experience. We'll see. That's a situation to watch, because if you're a fan of these parks and if you're a fan of Knott's Berry Farm specifically, hey, maybe something happens with Accelerator out there at Knott's Berry Farm. Now, I've heard it's on its way out, but hey, if something can be reimagined in a similar way that we've seen another park do, hey, you never know what happens.
Yeah, and it's almost like what they're doing with the Montezuma's Revenge, another old flywheel system. They
Correct.
don't have that really anymore. That's expensive to they have to build. That's a custom part right there. But now
Right.
they're making multiple experiences, multiple launches, and it's still Montezuma's Revenge for the most part. So it's pretty cool. Um, I forgot the new name, but I remember it's kind of long and confusing. So I'm going to call it Montezuma's Revenge for things like
Montezuma is just
Journey
fine.
or something, Forbidden Forest, or I don't know. But yeah,
I like their ambitious plans, though. I do.
I know that's super. Like forwards and backwards, like that makes it so rewritable. Like
Hmm.
that's incredible. And now you mentioned Salim said he didn't want to invest in new rides. Totally cool for Magic Mountain. There's 20 coasters and a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe some more flat rides. But
Hmm.
he mentioned festivals and well, I've heard him say festivals and stuff. And so far he's failing there as as again Oktoberfest back at Fright Fest during Fright Fest was regulated to just one restaurant, Ace of Clubs. And if you looked at that calendar when I was sharing a screen earlier, Mardi Gras just looks to be just one day on Fat Tuesday. And those aren't festivals. I mean, that's no good. And then even with the Fright Fest, there. Thank you very much, Six Flags, for inviting me out to the
Mm.
media event. Super fun. But the event was delayed by a couple weeks because their new maze wasn't ready. And see, that's just not cool. I mean, you can't. First, I don't know how the maze can't be ready. But and then when it was ready on that same day, we didn't even get to go inside it because the new maze didn't even open till 10 p.m. and we finished everything by then, so we just left, um, which is very disappointing. So you can't keep messing up. Like if you're gonna do no rides, that's fine, but at least excel on the other stuff, or else people will still turn and not come. It was quite a chore, Fright Fest, must say.
Yeah, I I must. I have a question for you, Wizard. Is it really a festival if you put up a couple of signs and you open a restaurant that's usually not open for any other purpose and with a menu? Is that really a festival? Can we really consider that a festival?
I mean,
I
it
know.
really isn't. I mean, I mean, it's like Ace of Club, a great restaurant. Anyway, it's by barbecue ribs, but I mean, it's just one thing, and it was that's crazy. Like I was thinking something like food and wine. Like it doesn't really be like that, but they have such a big corridor. For like I said, a parade to go through. They really wanted to put some food booths there, something. But they don't utilize their very big shadeless space, which is very unfortunate. Keyword on shadeless space.
Yeah, Salim Basul is he loves to tout those festivals, loves to tout those beautification projects, that premiumization, he says. But then you actually see the results of that beautification and the premiumization in those festivals and so forth, and you realize that the execution, maybe that's a little different than what was hyped by Salim himself. Yeah, I don't think that's a winning strategy. And to be fair to Salim, I think he kind of recognizes that because his tone kind of changed in this last quarterly earnings call. He said
Hmm.
this. He said, "We will be reverting essentially our beautification capex. We will be reverting it over to attractions and rides. And yes, we'll be increasing capex in the next couple of years." Specifically, he said that they spent $130 million on capex spend on a go forward basis. However, we intend to increase that for 2023 and 2024. While park amenities and events are our primary focus in 2023, we'll continue to add new record breaking coasters to our theme parks over time. And we look forward to some exciting announcements on this front in the near future. They also implied that they actually might announce some things for the spring. Now, some people are a little bit kind of like, well, okay, well, that obviously means that 2023 is not going to probably get anything, and I think you would be right. But the other thing is why announce them in the spring of 2023 when, at a time when, like, people are like, okay, well, maybe I should just come in 2024, if that's the case. I would
Yeah.
hold off on those announcements for maybe the end of the big peak season of 2023, and then that way you can announce those for 2024, get people excited and ramped up, and that way you don't cannibalize your upcoming season. I don't know. I that's something you could do. I'm not obviously a park ops guy, what is it, manager or whatever. I'm not any of those guys. So we'll see when it comes to that. But I'll say this, and he said this, Salim Basul. I'll get these comments out here and then I'll comment on them in a moment. What lesson have we learned through this transformation? This year, we weren't afraid to be bold with the changes that we have made to our business model. Some of the changes were well received and effective, others were not. The transformation of Six Flags will take time, and our results will be linear. The results in the third quarter reflects a quarter in which we were faced with inclement weather, record inflation, and sky-high gas prices that negatively affected attendance. That's interesting because your direct competition went through those same changes, and they're not posting numbers nearly as bad. I think Salim, to his credit, and I say that all, hesitantly, to his credit, I think he is starting to understand I'm not in the Disney business, right? I'm in the more amusement park side of the business, and I have to kind of be realistic with my goals, projections, and so forth. Maybe I can't be as aggressive while also not offering a product commensurate with these price adjustments. I think that is changing a little bit, but rough times ahead, folks. I'm sorry to say, unless Salim's out of there and they change their entire strategy, I think this will continue, and I think having a reduced schedule for the opening of these parks, like Magic Mountain, only opening on the weekends, not even Fridays. Wild. I think that reflects that, unfortunately.
And well, even if Six Flags Magic Mountain doesn't get anything new next year, 2020, or whatever year, I hope they at least finish what they started. For example, the Wonder Woman area, right?
Sure.
There was supposed to be a restaurant and bar and
Oh wow,
restrooms there. As part of the reimagined of the land.
this was
But
Magic Mountain.
yeah, somehow I guess somehow at the very beginning, not two at the beginning, because they managed to demolish the area's only restrooms for this area. It's going to be a combined restaurant, but it would have new restrooms in there. That part got cut. So right now there's still construction walls there, and it's a
Mm.
dirt pit, and everything else is done. The gift shop and one room is done, but they demolished the area's only restrooms to do that. So
Mm.
I mean, that's just so dumb. You have to now walk all the way to West Coast Racers to go to the bathroom, or all the way to Goliath. Why would you demolish the area's only restrooms to promise this new restaurant and bar, and then cut it, and then not least to build new restrooms? Please, Six Flags, at least build the restrooms back. Or because that actually, and it was terrible because most of the Six Flags bathrooms are dirty. And that was probably the nicest ones at the time, and they took them away without any replacement. It was so disappointing. I was like, wow. And then if you look at it, it's just kind of walled up now and just a spot. You don't have to bring the restaurant. Please build some new restrooms. Come on, Smash
Right.
Mouth. Please.
And you would have thought that that beautification capex would have gone towards there, but I think that restroom strategy is demonstrable of their greater strategy and the product at Six Flags itself, which is
That is one big pile of shit.
there you go, right there, right? That's about how it is, and hopefully we get back to this kind of notion of
And there's no doubt our attractions will drive kids out of their minds.
I'm looking forward to what we can see on that front. Hopefully, it's not just a bunch of kiddie coasters, as Six Flags is apt to do when it comes to their major investments. I mean, look, listen. I mean, is Cedar Fair a product like Disney? No, but I think Matt We Met has kind of started this kind of fundamental change in philosophy for Cedar Fair that's been really, really both operationally and kind of business sound. When it's like, hey, if we're going to invest not just in attractions themselves, but also in kind of like mini areas. We're going to rehab areas. We're going to like improve what surrounds a big attraction, investment, but also invest in big attractions themselves. It's this kind of more holistic approach, and Salim might be a little bit too targeted with these investments. You gotta broaden out. Provide some restrooms for the Wonder Woman area. Come on, I mean this is ridiculous.
I mean,
it's
a second entrance would be nice. Still, we'd want some kind of covered shaded area for the parking lot. Maybe even just repave the parking lot. My car is always bouncing around on there with the potholes. If you don't want to do a roller coaster, that's fine. There's so many things you can do. I have a whole laundry list, and it's even bad when the people who like the roller coasters say, it's okay if we don't get another one this year, because can you please repave the parking lot? Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to improve. I mean, and Salim talks about it, which is fascinating. He talks about, we got to improve the guest experience, all this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, you actually have to do that, though. You can't just say it while increasing the prices. You can't just have, what is it, like $80 for VIP parking at some of your parks? Just ridiculous figures. They've increased the park admission to like $120 a day or something like this. Is absurd.
Plus
okay,
$40 general parking.
Oh my goodness gracious! And people, I have complained about Disney's parking, but $40, good lord, this is ridiculous. Okay, this is absolutely absurd. Got to get out of this. You have to, you really have to do. You really have to back up these price increases with something that is tangible for the guest experience, or else people are just not going to come back, and they're not going to evangelize about your product either. In fact, there's an old saying in the theme park community. People like their experience, they tell 3 people. If people don't like their experience, they tell 10 people, right? And that is absolutely the case. It's absolutely correct. I will say there is sort of an improvement in terms of kind of rethinking the strategy. I guess they went from an annual pass holder rate that was 34% of what it was in 2019 to like 89% to what it was in 2019 through deep discounting that they actually had in the October month, which is obviously you want day ticket holders. I understand that, but as you kind of get into let's say this kind of recessionary economic environment, right? I think you do want those annual pass holders in your back pocket, and that was good. However, with that deep discounting came deep cuts to the various annual passes that they sell, and I guess they unveiled their 3rd annual pass tier structure for the year, which if people are upset about Disney changing stuff, 3rd.
They went from
AP tiered structure
passes to memberships to annual passes. I'm like, whoa! And then they started increasing the price of the people's existing memberships without even telling them, like by $4 a month. I'm like, whoa! It's good thing they knew it to me, but
yeah.
Whoa!
And with either those price increases or discounting that they actually recently went through. Which, by the way, Salim Basu was against discounting, so it's interesting to see him renege on that as well. He also cut a lot of the perks to some of those lower tier, lower tiers of annual passes, or just got rid of them completely. I think there was like a bring your friend kind of promotion that they've stopped entirely, and there's some other things too. So overall, I am not as optimistic about Six Flags' future as some of these investors are, which might have their own agendas and they might not be business driven, let's say, in some of that. It's alarming. It sounded like Salim kind of woke up to some of this stuff. It sounds like they're going to change strategy a little bit. But we need a fundamental shift in our philosophy. We don't just need a few CapEx dollars to be driven towards a couple kiddie rides. Okay, this philosophy needs to change because they are getting creamed when it comes to their competitors like SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Cedar Fair, and so forth.
Yeah, because again, Magic Mountain is there, or was supposed to be there. Heavily attended park. Okay, back in 2019, Magic Mountain is their most heavily attended park. But keep in mind,
Wow.
the most heavily attended park had an annual attendance of 3.3 million people for 2019.
Wow.
Which Universal had, Six Flags, the Knott's had somewhere about 4 million or so. And of course, Universal had triple that, and Disneyland like at 18 million. But come on, you have a 267-acre theme park. Only 3 million people visit you in a whole year, and you open the whole year. That's definitely a niche market. But wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead.
if you look at, if you look at the Facebook group, I see it every time. People are visiting. Like, I hear I'm a holiday in the park. It's, let's say, Saturday, and the park's completely dead. I'm like, oh, wow. Isn't that supposed to be the busiest time of the year?
Think about that, Wizard. You have Magic Mountain, which was their most attended theme park nationwide, and that park is moving towards a seasonal operation. That tells you the dire straits that they're in right there. And if I'm doing my math correctly, what is that? 7? If it's over 3 million visitors per year, that represents a significant portion of their overall goals for the upcoming years ahead. This is kind of surprising, and the parks have suffered. Obviously, operationally, they've suffered from low morale, low a limited workforce. Obviously, maintenance issues galore. But I think the thing that has culminated into the most worrisome trend for Six Flags. Sorry, I do apologize. Is in the guest experience itself. It is very bad. It is embarrassingly bad. To have, what do you say, Wizard, 20 attractions down at the same time or something like this?
Yeah, they had of their 20 coasters, they had three of them open. And that was one kiddie coaster and 2 big kid coaster, 2 adult coasters at the place with the most coasters on the whole world. But you can only have 2 of them.
You sent me some messages featuring the actual coasters that were down, just to give the audience an idea of what has been lost here. I'm just trying to find them. No, that's not it.
Where is it?
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find which coasters were down here.
Okay.
Did you find them?
So, yeah, let me share the screen. And let's see, but this is from Park Journey one Saturday.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. So
I see.
Got Crazanity Close, Dive Devil, Gold Rusher, Full Throttle, Goliath. The balloons are open, so if you want to go in Bugs Bunny World, you can ride the balloons.
Okay.
And Daffy Adventure Tour, but even there are 1 dark rides down, right? Justice League. The bumper car, as I said, the bumper car. I don't know. Those could be down. Jetstream is probably cold, but still close. Dropped it. This is okay.
Lex Luthor.
Side note about Jack. A side note about Lex Luthor. Multiple times when I'm there, I've seen people just stuck at the top for more than 10 minutes. I'm thinking, man, if I
Wow.
was in that position, I'd be freaking the f out. Because I'd be like, oh my god, what am I doing up here? Oh, I'd probably have a heart attack. I'd be freaking out if I'm stuck up there for 10 minutes. And I've seen it multiple times, but particularly on this side, the DC facing side. The other side seems to work properly, but this one breaks down all the time. Very bad. But the Magic Flyer, which is a kiddie coaster that was open, that's cool. Ninja's down.
Ninja, a great swinging classic from Arrow.
Mhm.
That's unfortunate.
Roaring Rapids has been down all summer, and
Mhm.
as is for the season, because the intimate parts. Superman is down. Scrambler, another one. I don't know how that can be down. It's just a carnival
It's a flat
ride.
ride, right?
I scream down because the lift motor. Another kiddie coaster though, the Hot Rod Racer is open. Squash Buckler, another little carnival type of thing.
Which is interesting
Actually, it's
about
the same thing as the Scrambler, but whatever.
interesting about Scream and Riddler's Revenge. Both B&M coasters. B&M is not known for extraneous downtime. They're actually known for their uptime and their reliability. It's surprising to me that both of
See,
these have been they're not on track to open for the entire 2023 season. That's shocking.
and Scream. I remember Scream was actually down when I was there for Fright Fest. So that's been down.
Wow.
Riddler's was up, but Scream was down.
And
They're-
Scream, other than its horrible location, it's actually a great ride.
I know. Look, it's very sounds very smooth. At least
Mhm.
the Bounce and Pounce is open if you want to ride right on that. Riddler's closed. I think Tatsu has been open because it's been under, of course, it had a massive refurbishment and repainting, so it better be open.
Right. Okay. That's good. They
Um,
haven't screwed that one up yet.
yeah, the trucking company, and see now also this shows you how empty the place was actually, because
Sure.
with all these things down, Tatsu only has a 45-minute wait, and it's only one of two coasters open. You'd think it'd be much higher, right? Because if everything's down, if the park is packed.
It's a good point. Good point,
But
Wizard.
Tatsu
Yeah. Do
and
you think it'd be
Twisted
much
Colossus
higher than that?
also has a 45-minute wait. Something again with only two major rides open, only 45 minutes with not too. Actually, it's pretty good considering everything else is down. But yeah, it must mean that park is pretty empty on that particular day.
New Revolution, Viper.
Yeah, New Weapon Viper, the backbreaker is closed, and yeah, that's all of them. So you had two major coasters and a couple of the kitty ones.
That is that's astounding.
And
That
this on
is
and this is November 20th, so this is a holiday weekend too. It's right after Thanksgiving, and at noon, 12:26 p.m. and all that was down.
I mean, this might be why Salim is kind of switching CapEx spending from beautification to maybe towards rides and attractions. He doesn't mean new rides and attractions. Maybe he means infrastructure for existing ones. Because my God, I mean, you gotta improve the situation. I mean, look. I will reaffirm it is a very difficult time for theme park operations in general. The industry has definitely taken a hit from supply chain issues, limited maintenance, and so forth. But you have to overcome these issues any way that you can. If you can get a different supplier from maybe a different country or something, or maybe go to I don't know. I mean, Rocky Mountain Construction does everything in house, so that's good, but I don't know. You got to reach out to Intamin, B&M, somebody. You got to get these things operational again. This is nuts. This is madness.
Yeah, absolutely
And hopefully,
insane.
with Scream and Riddler down, maybe they can use that time to make improvements to those attractions. If they're going to be down anyway, you might as well adjust those things. That would be the savvy move.
I hope so, because come on now. I mean, we're a city of champions. Southern California is a city of champions. We can't have a stinker place, park, or sports team here. Okay, we have to be winning all the time, or we'll reject you.
Fair weather fans, huh? Is that what you're describing there? Yeah, it's Salim Basul says this: changing a business is never easy. It takes time, and sometimes you have to take a step backward before you take 2 steps forward. But we remain confident in our approach to changing the culture here at Six Flags, optimizing attendance and per caps, and overhauling our cost structure. I don't know. I don't know if I would consider it 1 step back, 2 steps forward. This seems like 3 steps back. The talk of going forward. That's kind of what I'm hearing here. This is a decline. This is an absolute decline. Look, I think even Paul Presser would be embarrassed to be honest, right? Mm-hmm. He was a guy that famously said, "Well, if it's good enough for Six Flags, it's good enough for us." I'm not so sure about that. And by the way, look, listen, I think Salim Basul may have been inspired by some of the changes that, a certain previous CEO was making over there at the Mouse House. And, now he's gone. So clearly that premiumization strategy has its limits, if nothing else. Now, look, listen, I've been very critical of Shapeback and Diamaro for making the changes that they have to the theme park experiences and so forth. But as OG has said, you are afforded a little bit of wiggle room just based on the avid fans that Disney actually has. But also, like OG has brought up, you don't have that wiggle room with, like you said, fair weather fans, right? Fair weather theme park goers and amusement park goers. You just don't have that. They're going to go somewhere else, and there's plenty of competition even in the Southern California market, much less at a place like, I don't know, Cedar Point and all those places back east, which people can go to and feel that they're taken care of and enjoy a much better guest experience than some of those Six Flags parks.
Yeah, very crazy, and hopefully they'll improve, or else, as OG will be. I know his wish is for Universal to buy it up and make an Islands of Adventure West, which interesting, very far away. But I know OG will be jumping for joy if that were to ever happen.
Well, I think that about wraps up our Six Flags coverage, Wizard. When OG comes in, if he has anything to say on it, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and take those comments for sure. But should we switch over to our next topic of discussion?
Oh, yes, that's right. Because refurb season's coming. Speaking of maintenance issues. And Disney has a few coming up, at least in the land segment, and a few that didn't show up on the refurb list just yet. One of them is Indiana Jones, and it's been closed for more than 3 days, so that's good. And Grizzly River Run, I mentioned Grizzly because every year when they're closing for the winter season, I always hope they'll add an animatronic bear or something. I never get my wish, but I think, man, it's gonna close almost like you said with the Riddlers and Screams. It's gonna close anyway, enhance them. I always hope that Grizzly, when it's usually closed for 2.5 months, so I was like, come on, just put a bear in there. Just put a bear in there. I never did.
We always hope, right? Whenever the water rides go down following the holiday season and right there in, like you would say, refurbishment season, we always hope, oh man, what are we going to get on Splash Mountain? Or what are we going to get Grizzly River Run? Or maybe Small World has something new. Well, it never happens. But as Theme Park Wizard alluded to or outright mentioned, there are a number of attractions going down for refurbishment starting January 9th, and all of these have to be announced on them. Part of that is because the schedules haven't been released. But we can go over them real fast. Grizzly River Run, as you mentioned, it's a small world, likely to take down the holiday overlay, right? The great one was Mr. Lincoln, interestingly enough, with its Disney Gallery. That's going to be interesting. Probably maybe set up for the 100th anniversary. We'll see. Hopefully it is. Web Slingers is also going down.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so real quickly, what are we thinking that is all about? I know some people are kind of hoping that maybe some changes are made to its ride film. I know I have been critical, and I know some in our in our little community that we have here are also not too keen on some of the graphical limitations, let's say, that are part of this ride film for web slingers. Is there any chance that gets updated at all? Do you think so? Maybe,
You know,
possibly.
I hope so. And as OG mentioned with the hand motions, because when I did write it a couple times, I found this, but I just kept going like it because I couldn't tell where my web was going. So I hope that gets addressed and improved. That'll be quite nice. Um, I'm trying to think. I don't know what else I can do.
Maybe the introduction of maybe more characters, because I mean it's a screen.
Maybe. Oh, no, it'd be cool if they put the No Way Home characters in there. Oh boy.
Right. Can we get Doctor Strange in there? Can we get some of the villains that we've seen
Yes.
from that Sony film in there?
Because, yeah, it's a
Gotta be-
screen-based thing. They can totally just change up the whole story if they want to. I mean, you can, like, yeah, that'd be cool. I like it.
And-
come on, Disney.
It reminds me of when there was some talk back when what is it, Toy Story Midway Mania was installed and put up. There was some talk at that time saying that we might have seasonal ride films, right? Where it's we might incorporate some holidays in here like Halloween and Christmas and so forth, and we can change these out. Multiple times throughout its life cycle, and it was really kind of an intriguing proposition. Unfortunately, we only had that happen one time for I believe, the opening of Toy Story 3, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know if they updated it for Toy Story 4. I don't think so. I don't think they did. So we only had that ride footage updated one time. Hopefully, they don't make the same mistake here with Web Slingers. I mean,
I'm still hoping for the multiple missions on Smuggler's Run that I saw. 3 missions. And
okay.
I got 1 mission.
Well, to be fair, from what I understand, that's a lot more complicated than it is for some of these linear experiences, let's say, right? Because Millennium Falcon is so dynamic and there's so much, interactivity that can actually happen
3
there.
years to do it. You can at least find one more.
Well,
one more.
I mean, look, Wizard, come on, give him a break here. As soon as it opens, right, a couple months later, the whole world shuts down. So let's be fair here. There is some things holding that up. They have the computing power, though. I mean, there are 8 quadros, all configured in this kind of video card pool that they have for each of those cockpits. A stunning amount of technology in here. It would be awesome to get an update to that. I think we will, Wizard, to your point. I think we will. It's just not going to happen now, especially because Millennium Falcon is actually one of the premier rides, I think, at Disneyland Resort. I understand that people have their opinions on it, but it still does get the attendance. I don't think they're going to be changing out any of those things yet. And even if they do, they could even take down like a ring at a time and so forth.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. But for something that is, like I said, a little bit more linear and a little bit more straightforward in terms of updates, the MCU is a dynamic universe. It changes constantly, right? You have the introduction of new characters, the passing of old ones, and so forth. I would like to see that same dynamic nature that we see out in the land regarding its characters brought into the attractions themselves. And not just web slingers, but I'd also like to see this at Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, for example, Cosmic Rewind. And I think that's the mindset going into this new e-ticket attraction that we're getting for the Avengers Multiverse attraction.
Yes, when it comes in 2035, I hope there'll be so many characters. It'll be great.
Wow. Thank you, Wizard. My optimism has never been stronger. I do appreciate that. Well, I hope so anyway. To be honest, I kind of doubt this is what this update is about, but we will see. To have an update like this so quickly is very interesting. But I think the notable one here,
a maintenance thing, because I'd be like, wow, already? That's ridiculous. But I guess
Well, I think they want to always increase uptime, efficiency, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. It's what you do.
Speaking of web
No
slingers, I'm
surprise.
glad they started using the single rider line finally because I like single
They
rider.
did they really? I
They
didn't
did.
actually hear about that.
I saw a report. Yeah, they said like it was just a couple
Oh,
days ago they started using the single rider line. I'm like, thank goodness.
oh, that's great.
There's,
That's fantastic.
there's
That's
a couple
immediate
times
improvement.
that I've been wanted to. I was there just by myself, and I was like, or I was waiting for someone. I'm like, oh, I go on web slingers, but I only wait 45 minutes. And I go on a single rider line. So thank you. I love single riders.
I was examining dispatch times the last time I was actually there, um, and seeing how quickly they were actually loading vehicles, and they were about averaging like 1,000 guests per hour, which is not good. I mean, that's a little bit over Dumbo to give people some idea of what that is.
Oh,
It's like a Fantasyland dark ride, not great. However, the fact that they're implementing single rider, that will be an immediate improvement. That is very good to see, and it also speaks to, with the introduction of GT Plus, we had single rider stripped away from some attractions. Maybe that philosophy is itself changed, which would be a good thing. But the big one here, I think, Indiana Jones Adventure going down January 9th, along with these other attractions.
yeah.
Wizard, come on, you got to be excited for this.
I hope it doesn't open till at least my birthday. That's April 30th, because then that would be all the effects will hopefully be where most of them will finally be working. I was to say, this is hilarious. I was thinking of this too. I was like, wow, we sound like total theme park nerds. Imagine someone, or let's say we're looking at the ride and someone says, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just examining dispatch times. Like, what? I'm like, don't worry about it.
If anybody's gone with me, they know I'm insufferable on this point, right? Especially when I get to Space Mountain. Space Mountain is the one that, because those dispatch times are the most consequential to the attraction. If they are at all slowed, that could cascade and lead to some bad things. So, OG 55, come on, buddy, let's get it on. Get it on, got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Nice work.
Very much.
Oh, yes, Brie Larson. I love her.
But you know me, right? OG, you know me. I'm counting the times on Space Mountain when we're going around there.
He does.
Yep.
Yeah, you're the operations king. I think actually, what happened on Space Mountain? I think you even we were like boarding, right? And I think you even I think the cast member didn't even know the load time, the load times or whatever, but you did. All right, there's a situation like that. I think me, you, and George were in line, and
yeah. She, I think I think she talked to it, like he overheard me talking about dispatch times, and I think she was like, oh yeah, we're a little bit slower than that right now, but yes, you're in the ballpark. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she verified it or something. Yeah, I remember something like that happened on that ride. That was fun. That's funny.
Oh, gee. Great to have you, sir.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Wizard, and it's good to see you, producer Dre. Back in the saddle, ready to ride.
Dr. Dre.
Well, I try, but Wizard, if you allow me to be ever so kind, OG, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, where I'm joined by this guy. My producer Vash Sky, where we talk all things Disney parks. We talk mostly Disneyland, but we dip into Walt Disney World. We got a great show called Citrus Corner, where we dip into Walt Disney World, hosted by the one and only Disney Family Man 23. And we even dive into quite a bit the corporate drama, the Chapek, the Bob Iger drama. We talk about that quite often. So check us out, Orange Grove 55 on YouTube.
There they are in this corner.
There we go. See right there, the Bob Iger Town Hall.
That's it. And, that's some interesting stuff. We're gonna have to do a follow up on that with some video that we got. That'll be very, very interesting. But real fast, we're talking about Indiana Jones Adventure. It's going down January 9th to be announced in terms of its opening date. OG, what do you think about all this?
It needs it. I think Indiana Jones. I mean, it was rough when we went on it together. That was back in June, or it was like June, and it was rough back then. And this ride needs it in a big way. Now, do we know how long that refurb is going to be?
To be announced. We don't know yet.
PBA, which is the best time ever. That means not 3 days.
That's good. Yeah, as long as possible. They really need to get in there, fix these effects. Man, it's kind of sad to see the that ride in the shape that it's in. That's a fantastic attraction, and they've really let it go.
They have. It's gotten particularly bad in most recent times. There was some paint and some stuff that was done during the shutdown, but I mean, the snake hasn't worked for. I don't even know when was the last time it worked. Honestly, the boulder scene, from what I understand, they're waiting for parts to come in for that. That is still kind of like touch and go. But I don't even know if it runs or moves consistently. It's just. It's in really bad shape.
When I went, just the lights flashed and it was dark and nothing happened. Oh no! Oh, and then
that's a signature effect right there. Very important for that attraction. Now there were plans back in 2020. Actually, it was supposed to go under the knife for an extensive refurb, and some good money was being applied to it. Unfortunately, that never happened. So I think a lot of people are hoping that this is the time here when it actually gets the refurb that it's needed for even a couple of years now. But we'll see. OG, you have a wish list of stuff that you'd like to see?
Yeah, I'd like to see. Well, my number one wish list thing is actually the tornado effect. This isn't going to happen, okay? But this is like a wish list thing. The tornado effect that they have at the Tokyo Disney version. I would love to see something like that. That would be dope. And then the other thing that I really want them to address is the rat room. They have the projections. Even when that's working, it's kind of cheesy, kind of janky. I wish they would do something else with that room. I'm sure there's some other creative thing they can kind of, I don't know. I'd almost rather have it just be a dark room. The rat effect never really worked for me, in my opinion. So I like them to address that.
If they can make that like projection mapping, I feel like that'd be really cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
that would be cool. The problem with that rat room is that I've recently heard this. I didn't even think about it, but it's so right. Because of the dispatch times, and we're going to go back to this dispatch times in terms of Indiana Jones, I think it's anywhere between 15 to 18 seconds, right? And that is actually not enough time for the fog to come back after a Jeep just hit it. So that's why it's kind of like inconsistent, right? It might be working. It's just the fog hasn't replaced or replenished since the last time it was hit. So it's a touchy effect at the best of times. At the worst of times, it's not even present. So they absolutely had to address that. I would even say too, that kind of the ice effect right now. I know we're not going to get any ice back. I can, I'm putting the map together in my head. That's probably not going to happen. However, if that could come back in some form, maybe a projection effect or something using modern technology, I think that would be great as well.
It would. And now's the perfect time to give Indiana Jones Adventure some love with Indy 5 coming out, in May. I think it's May of 2023.
Right.
That it would be, honestly, it would be a sin for that ride to be in the shape it's in with a new Indiana Jones movie coming out this next summer,
It's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, OG, but you're right. I mean, Chapek used to talk about the synergistic flywheel, right? Well, that's some of that does exist. And I think there's some overlap. I remember a great big promotion that was done for the release of Indiana Jones 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when they had like an Indiana Jones show on the outside, and they gave a little bit of love to Indiana Jones inside and stuff like that. I would love to see a good rehab of that attraction to increase its uptime, reduce its maintenance costs, maybe new effects and so forth. From what I understand, it's still running on the 1995 computers and stuff like that.
Wow.
Address those things, and I think it'll be good shape. Go ahead.
I had an idea.
Yeah.
What if, right? Watch this. I can see a blog post coming in. I'm very excited for the Mario movie. But
I am too, actually. That Mario movie looks really good.
I can see a blog post, right? Disney Parks blog post. Indiana Jones goes down January 9th. Reopens, ready? Reopens the same day as the house opens. They're right next to each other. Like a big Adventureland reopening. Enhanced Indiana Jones and a Treehouse reopening. Both in summer 2023. Bam!
That maybe this is the thing. I know you brought the treehouse, Ethan, and I'm glad you did. This treehouse thing is really weird, right? It's the it's the Adventureland treehouse inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. I'm like, why not just do the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse?
Why are we half in, half out here?
Yeah, and here's the thing too. If you're gonna have an Adventureland treehouse, I think it would have been cooler to do like have elements of the treehouse incorporate elements of other attractions in the land. For example, you can have like Jeep parts as part of like the tree, very kind of to give India nod, right?
Right.
And you can have maybe like some tiki birds in there, and then you can have like something in there regarding Jungle Cruise, kind of give a little nod to Jungle Cruise, and have it really be an actual Adventureland tree. That would be dope. But instead, they're doing this whole like it's the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, but it's not the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. It's like a little weird.
Yeah, you can tell that this is kind of a project by committee, right? The park ops has their agenda and stuff. Oh, we got to make it IP themed, everything like that. And then you have Imagineers who are like, does it really though? And it's like, well, does it go on Kanto? No, not really. So do we do some other kind of theme? Well, okay, right. Inspired by Swiss Family Robinson. It's like, this is terrible. Also, too, from the studio that brought you Mist Mountain, are we surprised? Not really.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like all in or don't, right? Like either do the Swiss Family Robinson thing or don't. This whole like it's an Adventureland treehouse that's inspired by Swiss Family. It's just so convoluted, and we're seeing that over and over, like Dre, you mentioned, over and over and over again with Imagineering. It's
I'll be a little later. Keep going.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Now this was interesting. Did you guys talk about this yet? The capital expenditure project?
Have not. Let's get into it.
This is interesting. This is fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah. It says in a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Walt Disney Company has disclosed that its plans on increasing its capital expenditure projects by 37% in fiscal 2023 compared to fiscal 2022, which ended October 1st. Now, this is interesting because this would still be Bob Chapek's move, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Credit where it's due.
It's kind of funny because right at the end there, he was getting. He was really on track to do something here, and then he's taken out, which was really funny. But yeah, up 37%. That's great. Now, I think there is some distinction between what they planned for and what they actually execute, right? That's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes they say they're going to invest a little bit more, they actually invest a little bit less. But honestly, this really does sound very, very good. It does sound like a little bit of a rebalancing, right? Well, let's not throw everything into the DTC segment for once.
Right.
Let's kind of spread this wealth around, let's say. I think this is really fantastic if it does actually come to fruition. And maybe part of the refurbishments that we're actually seeing, like in the form of Indiana Jones or even Web Slingers itself, right, is part of this kind of plan. Maybe we can get some better graphics on Web Slingers, right? And maybe some new characters involved in there. Maybe this means a better Indiana Jones experience. It is reassuring to see, to be honest with you.
It is. It's good to see. It gives me a little bit of hope for Tiana Mountain. I'm hoping upon hope that the proper budget goes into this thing, and then Imagineering gets out of its own damn way with the convoluted story.
Right.
I think that might be asking for a lot, but I'm hoping. Yeah. I'm hoping. And you mentioned with Web Slingers, yes, improve the CGI. It looks like a PS3 game.
Yeah, exactly, right? It does. No, it looks bad. And like Wizard said, it's hard to find your web, right, and distinguish it from the others in your vehicle. That can be improved. I think there are some, it wouldn't be all that much money, but there are some improvements that you can make that'll make it a better ride in general for everybody who rides it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Now with Mist Mountain over there, I'm still a little worried because I know they want to get the Well, I figured I mean, whatchamacallit, open weeks later. Mickey and Minnie's opens 2 weeks later. So, and that 2 weeks a little bit slow. I felt like if they're going to go in full steam ahead, I still feel like they should shut it down on January 9th, like I was calling for. They'll reopen in late 2024. So you give yourself a late 2024 deadline, and then you're starting, I don't know when. It's taking them ages to do this downtown Disney thing. That's been a whole. I
Yeah.
just, I'm a little concerned that if they're gonna shut down too late and then be rushing to this late 2024 deadline they promised,
Yeah.
and then I don't know. I don't know.
It is interesting, right? So we had the refurbishment list,
And
January 9th
outside.
on, and Mist Mountain or Splash Mountain is not on it.
And for
That is a very interesting
Disney
thing.
World, it goes out. I checked their app, at least Disney World's app, Magic Kingdom, because that's
Sure.
February 11th. February 11th. Splash Mountain's not on the refurbishment all the way through February 11th.
Wow.
I understand they're waiting for Tron, but again, they both have the same late 2024 thing. I feel like you gotta start sooner than later. I understand Tron is over there and they have a little different thing, but still, don't commit to late 2024 thing. You should leave it open ended then. That way, I just don't want them to be rushing.
Well, this also speaks to, Disney putting that cart before the horse, or this kind of thing where it's like, oh, we're gonna hype this up, and put ourselves in arbitrary deadlines, and do all this kind of machination where it sets expectations that are a little bit too
No.
that are a little bit too. We'll address that. That are a little bit too high, right? So Now I have heard from my sources, Wizard, that the Walt Disney World version and the Disneyland version are on two different timetables. So even though the Disneyland version is slated to open by late 2024, that might not be the case for Walt Disney World, just given their operational concerns. So, a little point of clarity there. Maybe that's why they're pushing that one back. But Disneyland's supposed to start here, and I'm not seeing it on the refurb list. Very interesting.
Very interesting. And like, I'm sorry, like the Save Splash Mountain people, that sliver of a chance died when Bob Chapek left.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
gone.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
The
Bob
best we can hope
Iger,
for is a better ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob
Exactly.
Iger, he's the one. He's gonna, if anything, fast track it. So.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Gonna double down, tout that thing. It's going to be...
Oh yeah. Well, according to Diz Twitter, Bob Iger is going to announce a fifth park for Walt Disney World, no reservations, a third park for Disneyland Resort.
There you go.
We're getting the whole kit and caboodle with him, just instantly,
We're getting all...
There's a
back to
fake
back.
thing going around. I saw on Facebook, a fake thing and they made it look really official. They photoshopped the fonts,
I saw
everything.
that.
That said the reservations end January 9th, 2023.
Right. Oh, man.
I was joking with OG before the show. I was saying that's not even well done. This is well done, and I brought up the our Carl's Jr. April Fool's joke that we had on the channel, where they
Oh yeah.
that was more convincing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that graphic you did, Ray, was really good. Like, it was great. It was like from the Disney parks, like the official, like how they handle these announcements, and it's just like, oh, it looks so clean. We're announcing this collaboration between Disney parks and Carl's Jr.
Mhm.
And the wording and everything. Do you have it on hand, Ray? We got to show his audience if you have it. If not, no pressure.
I can get up.
You can get up. Okay, cool. I just think it'd be fun to show.
But let's address this one right here.
What if they turn Indiana Jones to the multi-dimension coaster or Vekoma spinner like Cosmic Rewind? They can make a new Indiana Jones ride like that at some other Disney park, but they better not turn They won't turn this one. First of all, there's not enough space. That's not enough space to all that. But and then two, no, that's just not happening. But maybe if they want to replace the Indiana Jones stunt show at Hollywood Studios with some cool thing like that, go ahead. And it will be not Vekoma spinner, because they already have those, but like a multi-dimension coaster like what Port Aventura has announced today. That would be great.
Or if you did the Vacona spinner, but it was like a minecart attraction that weaved through the current Indiana Jones attraction.
Oh, that'd be kind of dope.
That would be dope, you know.
dope
But
too.
yeah,
I don't think
That'd be-
so. This is the kind of the graphic that I
That
did.
is actually like really official. I think I'm gonna put this on Twitter. I just think I think it's
you
real.
should. You should put
You
it on Twitter.
you should. I'll give you a copy of it if you
Yeah,
want to. But
Do it. I'm gonna put it on.
Look at Ethan. He's been getting spicier on Twitter. Getting
I'm like,
spicier.
I'm like, I can't wait for the new Carl's Juniors and coming to all Disney parks.
the wording.
And all credit to you, Dre, with the wording. It's like spot on. We are thrilled to announce a historic partnership between Disney Parks experiences and products and the two of the leading powerhouses in the food and beverage industry, Carl's Jr. and Hardy Restaurant LLC. These famous and award-winning brands will provide their incredible talent to our beloved domestic Disney parks and resorts experiences. Oh my God, that is beautiful.
You know, you should have added after our successful partnership with Target. We're
Oh man! Oh, that was the thing I was missing. Oh, you got to capitalize on your former successes to present your new ones. Oh man!
Yes.
See, even I'll consult with you on the next one here because.
That's so great.
And it was so hard, Ethan. It was so hard to get through this after we read it because we were all dying. We had to have a straight face for the show. It was a lot of fun.
I was editing the hell out of that video because we had so many different takes where we just couldn't hold it in and we were cracking up. I'm like, I had to edit that thing like crazy, but it was worth it. It was a really, really fun video.
Well, it really does look super official.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
And I bring up this comment only because rumor has it Universal might snag into Port Aventura again overseas. They originally once owned the place. They might try to own it again.
I'm not as schooled on the Universal stuff. What is that exactly?
Yeah, so Port Aventura is a theme park in I don't know, but it's somewhere over in Europe. It's in Europe, and Universal opened. That's why if you go there's like a giant woodpecker statue in front of, and because it was like Universal's European park, but then they got out of it, and then someone else owned it. So then there's like that's why there's this Uncharted coaster because someone else owns it, and then, but rumor has it Universal wants to get back in there and get back in a European presence, and it seems that they're making some moves in the stock market, and they're making some moves behind the scenes to make it Universal's Port Aventura again, which is very interesting.
Interesting.
And there was a recent announcement of this Uncharted dark ride coaster.
Yeah, that's that multi-dimensional coaster that Girl Power was talking about up there.
I see.
Port Aventura. It was announced today for that park.
Right. Well, to that notion, no. On the Indiana Jones front, however, the Port Aventura. Look, I mean, there was talk of Universal getting involved in Europe in some way. There was like a London talk for a long time there. I think that was one market that kind of got away from them. That it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to get back in. Very interesting stuff.
Make those moves, Universal.
And there's the biggest bargain of all.
That's right.
That's right. A new coaster. Oh, well. Oh, gosh.
No
Get back
our
to
attractions will drive kids out of their minds. Spared no expense.
That's right, Dr. Ham. That's right. You'll get a new coaster at Disney World in 2023. So you can fly over there.
Yeah, that's true. Have you guys talked about the Mario Brothers trailer?
No.
I'm not.
You guys want to dive into that? That was
Yeah.
I loved it. Actually, I really, really liked it. I'm actually very surprised at how much I liked it. I think it looks fantastic.
Let me see if I can bring it up here so we can have some visuals.
Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, wow. And then there's the one part where it looks like it just reminded me of playing my Nintendo's DS because the actual game level was right there, and he was bouncing around, and the little firefly thing knocked him out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's like me when I died on that exact level." That was good.
I love the Donkey Kong versus Mario part. Like he just beats him up so bad.
And then the Mario Kart pops on. That was so cool.
No, it looks
I just
looks
don't
really
know how-
good.
And then Princess Peach is like a badass, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and
She's
that's
not
go
like
that's been like the controversy all over the internet is the Princess Peach stuff. It's kind of funny.
Mhm.
I know.
That's your beatdown right there.
Yeah.
Yes. That has been
And then you give
controversial.
me star power. Oh my god, so cool.
It's a beautiful looking movie, though. I mean, look at these visuals. I mean, I'm actually shocked that Illumination produces. I mean, I am because this looks
I know,
really,
right?
really good.
Yeah, no, I have to admit they actually did pretty well here. Like honestly, this is some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's so blurred.
Oh,
I
you're
don't
good.
want to play it. I don't want to get Ethan
Yeah.
copyright strike.
There
we
you go.
It's a little better. Yeah. So there has been some controversy
Yeah.
here. OG, what do you have to say?
Here's my thing, and we kind of talked about it on the DMs.
Sure.
I think it's kind of like I think it's much ado about nothing, to be honest. Because I don't know. I mean, I can see. Okay, look, this whole thing kind of started. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers on his like review of the trailer kind of said like, you know, she kind of reminds him of like Bo Peep in Toy Story 4.
Okay.
And like the Rey Skywalker vibe and all that. And I get that. I can see where he's going with that with the Bo Peep thing, right?
Mhm.
To me, though, it's all about execution. And, you know, I think you can have like a strong female character and it can be done in a way that's not like beating you over the head with it.
Sure.
And I will also say this in defense of Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. A lot of people are giving him shit for that, saying like, oh, like he was hating on the movie and this, that, and the other. He really wasn't. And they edited it like right before he said, like, you know, if you like it, that's great. Everyone, you know, I don't want you to not like it just because I don't care for this particular element.
Right.
Like he wasn't like beating this thing up at all. Like people were kind of giving him a hard time. If you watch the whole thing in context, he really wasn't doing that. So, and look, I'm not a huge fan of his, to be honest, but like in his defense, there's been a lot of mischaracterization about his kind of review, you know, and it wasn't cool.
Yes. I will agree with that. He was, I mean, this is a guy who's a big Nintendo fan. He's legitimately excited about this movie and film. And so I think he has a lot of, you know, expectations surrounding it, as kind of people, fans of any franchise, I think, do. He was just saying that he kind of saw some things that I think concerned him. And
Yeah,
I
fair.
will kind of agree. I mean, gee, how many times have we talked about how, you know, you have these very kind of bland female characters now in media product today, which are just like they have no personality, or their personality is all kind of let's say uninteresting because we've seen so much of the same personality amongst various female characters, right? It's all kind of these new tropes that we're seeing, and it's not the most engaging from a fan's perspective. That doesn't mean that, you know, we want Peach to be a damsel in distress. Absolutely not. Look, if you've played Super Smash Brothers, you know she kicks ass. However,
yeah, and even early as Super Mario Brothers 2, she was a playable character in that. I believe it was the part 2. She was a playable character. She was no longer that damsel in distress in the second game in like the early 90s.
I did not know that. I had no idea. Look, I think we are. There's some understanding, or there's some expectation that her character would kind of evolve for this setting. In this kind of contemporary film here. That said, it's like it's kind of following some of the trajectories of so many other female characters that we've seen from so many different other genre films and so forth. I think that's what he was expressing concern about. But overall, I mean, even he, you know, was evangelizing about how they featured Mario Kart in the movie. I think there's a scene, if I can get to it, that features the rainbow. Yeah, and even this scene right here, this scene is like really dope, right? I think you were talking about OG, how this was kind of like the flame version of Elsa, and it's kind of right?
Then Let It Go, she does this with the snowflakes, right? And it's like I thought about that, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Dope.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's great. Everything looks so on model. It's done with so much kind of. You could tell they love the franchise, like they really do. They like these characters. They wanted to pick them in the in a form that people can have come to expect. I know Mario's a little bit of a
So cool.
he's a little we're adorable. Yeah, I like that line. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Mario and Luigi, they're a little dopey or whatever, but I think they come into their own. I think it's part of the hero's journey here.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I don't want to write this film off just because it features a few elements that are unpopular with a certain cast of characters.
Yeah.
We'll see the execution of these ideas. It could be really good.
I haven't been, and this is like honest. I mean, I haven't been really excited to see like an animated movie from any studio in a long time. A real freaking long time. And this is one of the few that I'm like, wow, this might actually get me into theaters, because I was just really impressed by this. Even this scene right here where he was like, Luigi was like, just because we dress the same and we both have the letter of our name on our hat doesn't mean I know the guy. I was cracking up. That's freaking hilarious.
It's good stuff. I mean, I like that. I really do enjoy that. And you're right, OG. I mean, I haven't really been excited for an animated film, and man, I can't even remember when. But this one, I mean, every single time I see a trailer of it, it's like there are things that I like even more and more, and more and more excited to see this film. So I think that's true. Wizard, here's the question I want to pose here, because I think DG, Disney Glimpses on Twitter, actually brought this up here. If this film is really, really successful, right, and it gets people really, really excited about a contemporary look at the Nintendo Mario Brothers franchise, does that mean that reverberates to the park setting in the form of Epic Universe opening up its own Super Nintendo World, or even here in Hollywood? Does that cascade there?
I'm telling you, look, the land opens in March. This comes out in April. Oh, perfect. You go see it, and you fly out to Hollywood and go meet the character you just saw in this movie you loved. I think it's perfect. I think Universal is going to make big business. Oh
yeah. No, this is going to be. There's a whole thing out. There's a whole thing out there, right, where like video games don't make money at the box office, right? And it's happened a lot in the past. That's why that mindset's kind of there. This movie's going to make $1 bajillion. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind this movie's going to be extremely successful. I will have to say though, I'm very curious, because it was announced recently that Nintendo's opening up its own film studio.
Yeah.
So what does that mean if this is a really big hit? Is Nintendo going to use Universal again, or are they going to do it in their? I would imagine it would go into their own studio. I don't know.
I would assume that they still have a distribution deal. Maybe that's the deal going forward. But yeah, I mean, you're right though. I mean, maybe they don't use Illumination. Maybe they go with their own in-house studio, and they just use Universal to distribute their films. Not unlike actually a certain Chinese studio with a certain big lizard and big ape character, right? That was using Warner Brothers to distribute their films.
Right.
That deal recently just went south. So, maybe it's something like that. It's going to be really interesting to see on that front. But I'll say this. I mean, if this does really buku bucks, that points to a really good, a synergistic takeoff for Epic Universe.
Yeah, no, it does, and even for the land out here in Hollywood, because like it's the movie comes out like in April, and the land opens in March, but like by when the summer hits, people will be excited because it's like they've seen the movie, they like it, and now Universal's Hollywood has this land all based on this. I don't know. I think this is an important movie for Universal.
It really is huge. It's humongous. It's gonna be one of the best movies of 2023.
Oh, bold, Ethan, bold.
Oh,
bold prediction.
That is bold. What's do we know what's on the film slate for Disney in 2023?
I know Indy 5.
Indy 5. Okay.
What else? I don't even know. Like what what's that Pixar movie, Elemental? I think that's coming out next year.
Yeah, that one is.
I don't know Disney Animation though. Like, what's Disney Animation even doing?
That's not good. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a list here.
Oh yeah, that movie Wish is coming out.
Oh yeah, Wish. Okay, I'm actually excited to see Wish because that looks like more of a traditional Disney animated.
Yeah, it even sounds like more of a traditional Disney animation.
Yeah. Yep. And casual just says Wish. Yep. I'm excited for Wish actually because that looks like a real traditional kind of Renaissance era thing, and I'm digging that for sure.
Wish. You're gonna have to remind me what
That's
is
with the
again.
with the like the biracial princess and the little goat, and it's like the story behind like the wishing star, and there's music attached. It's a musical.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That was highlighted at D23 Expo. We were all excited about it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Wish looks good. Wish looks good for sure. I'm looking at their slate of films here. Very interesting. Ant-Man 3 is coming out there. Quantumania, right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and The Little Mermaid are both coming out in 2023.
Yeah. So they got some pretty big movies. Guardians is going to be freaking huge.
Best movie 3.
Universal with a big slate there in April 2023. That's when Fast and Furious 10, which we know has an enormous budget.
I don't know what's going to go on with that. That's like an Avatar situation. Like that thing has to hit the ground running, you know?
It has to. Yes. It has to. And I actually just recently learned that Avatar might be in the 400 million range in terms of budget, which makes it the biggest gamble ever, I think. I think James Cameron's correct on that. But also in April 2023, Super Mario Brothers movie. So a big month for Universal for sure. I'm trying to see the Marvels. Captain Marvel 2 comes out in February 2023.
Oh, you got to do the Brie Larson. You got.
Oh, here, hold on. I got her. Hold on.
You got her?
I got her. Here we go. Captain Marvel 2.
Thank you very much.
Yep, right.
Yep. We gotta mention our gal. There.
You know, we love our Brie Larson.
We can't leave her out. I
almost hit this one by accident. Oops. Sorry, Brie.
Just as applicable. I gotta be honest. So wait, Jungle Cruise 2 is scheduled to come out in 2023? That can't be right.
What? I never even heard of that. Is that even a thing?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
This might be a little out of date there.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking to see if I can find anything that's apparently Lion King 2 was supposed to come out in 2023. I don't know if that's still happening.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah, so
that's a prequel actually. I think it's the origin story of Mufasa, which actually sounds kind of interesting. At least they're not just doing a beat by beat copy. It's a little bit of a different angle. I kind of like that. We'll see though if it's any good.
Yeah, we'll see. It could be. Not a lot of concrete dates for some of this stuff in 2023. We'll see. We'll see what actually comes about. But I heard the Christmas special, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, was actually pretty good. So Guardians of the Galaxy 3 might be something to that.
But we all have to go see the Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I've been seeing that around the internet. What is that exactly? I mean, it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie, and it comes out in February or something. And it's, I guess, inspired by a true story of this bear who accidentally ate a pack of cocaine.
Oh my god! I'm intrigued.
If you see the trailer, it's actually pretty funny. It came out today. It's so funny.
Well, I don't know if I'm excited for that, but I am excited for John Wick 4, though.
Yes,
John Wick is my jam.
That's interesting. So,
it's coming out right next to my birthday. That'll be a fun watch. Theme Park Casual asks, I thought I saw there's going to be an Aladdin 2. Is that true? Well, not with Will Smith, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the Will Smith thing it really kind of put the kibosh on that because they can't use him and he's the genie. What are you going to do? I mean, you can recast, I guess, but I don't know. I don't see it happening now with with the slap heard around the world.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, there's been some new reports about that lately. That he's been ousted of what Black Hollywood is what they're terming it as, and
Wow,
not good. Not good. As,
that's unfortunate because early buzz on that was that the movie was going to slap. I don't know.
let me see if I have something there. Here we go.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
Right. That is right. But no, I mean, I don't know, man. Between Fast and Furious 10, which obviously is going to get its own buzz and hype attached to it, and also the Super Mario movie. Hey, Comcast has a couple of pictures that are definitely worth watching. I will say the Super Mario movie looks pretty good. Looks like a fun time.
Yeah, don't sleep on that Mario movie. I don't
Sleep on it.
Yeah, I think this is going to do very well. I think the kids are going to love this. I think the people my age, like in their 40s and even a little younger, that grew up on like Nintendo in the 80s and stuff, they're going to want to see this. I think this will do very, very well. It looks like a very well done movie. It's beautiful. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
It's gorgeous.
Look at this.
Oh,
This is,
it is.
the rendering is it's like right it has like a certain style to it, and it's really done well, and it just kind of throws you into those games. This
Makes you want to go in that world. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
this is not your live action Super Nintendo world that has nothing to do with nothing to do with the video games. This is actually a solid effort here. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you guys remember? I think Ethan, you're way too young, but like Dre, I don't know. Do you remember the Super Mario Super Show that was on Fox? It was like a afternoon show, after school kind of show.
Was it hand drawn?
Yeah, it was hand drawn, and the intro was like this rap. Everything back then had a rap intro, but
gotta have a rap.
it was. I used to love that show as a kid. I used to watch that religiously, and it was like, yeah. Then they had like they had a live action Mario and Luigi, but like that would kind of host it, and then it would go into like just a full-fledged cartoon. But it was fun.
Yeah, they've done some little stuff like that in the past, to varying degrees of success, of course. But a big name behind it like this, with Comcast and Elimination stuff like that, should be decent. I think it should be good. But this also translates to Super Nintendo World opening. I think March of 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But around there we got a lot of updates here from Scott Goosen today in terms of the opening dates for Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, World of Color 1, Wondrous Journeys Spectacular, all opening on January 27th. Magic Happens Parade opening February 24th, and Toontown reopening on March 8th. What do you think about all that? Real quickly.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. I'm excited. Okay, a couple things. I've said many times I'm not a huge fan of Magic Happens, but a lot of people love that parade. So you know what? If it makes a lot of people happy, I'm all for it. Bring it back. We might as well. We don't have a daytime parade. If that's the one, that's the one. So I'm excited for that. Just because I think that's a crowd pleaser. World of Color 1. I have to be honest. I haven't been super into the different World of Color iterations since the original show. The original show just kind of hits different, right?
It's different.
It hits different. And the winter shows and all that, never really got super into those. So I'm hoping this one really tugs on the heartstrings. It's the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. I want to see some Walt Disney on there. I want to see 9 Old Men, Howard Ashman. Probably won't happen, but I want to see a little Disney history on that and really make the nerds cry. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. But I think the fireworks show though will be fantastic. Disney by and large does really great fireworks shows. I think that'll be great. Toontown reopening is awesome. I think Mice Chat had some aerial shots lately. I think Ethan, you even had a video on it.
We broke them all down.
Broke it all down. The backdrop, the hills look great. They're a lot more colorful, a little more depth in there. I'm excited for that.
That El Capitan sign, that looks really good. Whoa, I was pretty stunned by that.
Fantastic.
Pretty stunned by that. It's interesting. Now that we have Bob Iger back in here, here's a guy that has has, let's say, affected the trajectory of some of these nighttime spectaculars specifically. And he wasn't really involved that much in the parks, much at all, outside of
Right.
big capital expenditures. But he did involve himself in some of these nighttime spectaculars, like the original World of Color, for example.
Right,
He had a
right.
couple of mandates for how that should all go down, Rivers of Light and so forth. Do you think that Bob Iger stepping back into the role and kind of seeing these shows, do you think he has any effects on this?
Here's my thoughts on the. I think with World of Color, I'm not sure about Rivers of Light. I'm not as in tune with the Florida stuff, but I think with World of Color, that first iteration of that show, I think there was so much writing on that because this was kind of like a DCA revival, a reimagining.
It was.
So it was more than just a show. It was like there was a lot riding on this being a hit, you know?
True.
And I think that's kind of why he injected himself in that. This World of Color one, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, 100th anniversary. But considering there's less riding on it for the park, and he's got so much on his plate right now, which is getting the company in the right direction. I don't think we're going to see him get involved. And I think it might even be a little bit too late, to be honest. If it premieres in January, most of it's probably in the can, ready to go.
In the can?
Yep, I think so, in my opinion. But what do you think, Ethan? Or, I'm sorry, Dre.
Oh, no, go ahead, Ethan. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I think, it's pretty much done, I think. He can get involved in Tiana, I think, because it's a mystery over there. But, the shows, I feel like they're pretty much done. The fireworks show is going to be A1, as the kids call it nowadays.
Is that what the kids are calling it? They're calling it A1?
A1. Like the steak sauce.
I like the steak sauce because A is the first letter of the alphabet and 1's like number 1, so it's number 1. But
number 1 reemphasized. I see.
World of Color 1 will be hopefully A1 because it has the number 1 in it, so it has to be A1.
That's really funny. It's interesting. We heard from some people that Chapek was the one who wasn't all that thrilled with the Walt inclusion and everything, wanted to move in a new direction for the company.
Oh, really? I did not hear that.
Yeah.
So he didn't want So he was the one that was kind of advocating against Walt?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Chapes. I stood up for you, Chapes.
That's what's coming out now. That he's like, he walks into Walt Disney Imagineering, for example, and he's like, Walt Disney's dead, this kind of thing, and we should really move away and so forth. And it's not good. It seemed to be that obviously there were some grievances there, not just from people internally, but externally, and that's why they incorporate Walt into the enchantment show and everything like that.
So
if Bob I can get involved in one thing, it would be let's put a little Walt in here. Let's put a little Walt in some of these places. Give people what they want.
Does that confirm that they took away the opening day speech intentionally?
That is the connection that people have drawn. I'm not sure if it was Chapek himself, but there was something going on there. Yeah. They took that speech out for a reason.
Oh yeah, and all this talk, I remember like on Disney Twitter, people were saying, "Oh, well, maybe they just forgot to play it." Come on, you guys. Forgot to play it. These shows are like heavily choreographed, like in the can, ready to go. Unbelievable. I couldn't even believe people.
I remember you kept making video after video, and
I was so mad.
People are like, "Oh goodness, he keeps going on about this."
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone has like, as Dre says, everyone has a sacred cow. Right.
Yeah.
That's my sacred cow. Like you can mess with my fast passes. You can mess with my tickets, my reservations. OG doesn't really care. You mess with my Walt though, I'm hot. I'm mad. And that's why when you were saying, Dre, that was like Chapek kind of spearheading this minimization of Walt, I was like, ooh, God, man. Because I've defended Chapek quite a bit, but if he was involved in that, if that's true, or he was really spearheading that effort, that really turns me off. Like big time.
I agree. That's not good. You cannot do that. You should be, especially for like the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, you should be leaning into that nostalgia, not leaning out of it. Which, to be honest, that was a lot. That was a lot of people had grievances over when it came to the 50th anniversary. That they did, to their credit, kind of make good on for Epcot's 40th anniversary in some regards, but it really should have been a company resort-wide effort for the 50th, and it really should have included Walt at fundamental levels in certain areas there, and it just didn't. And hopefully for the 100th anniversary, that kind of comes all back around. Look, the 100th anniversary is not going to be this kind of make good on the 50th where we're going to get new rides, new attractions, all this kind of stuff. Don't anticipate that, guys. It's just not. That's just not where we are.
We'll get a
However,
new ride. We'll get Tron and we'll get Mickey and Minnie's. That's new.
Well, that's true. That's true. But more likely, though, and easier to implement would be Walt. Just put Walt in there. Really, Walt, Roy, really lean into your unbelievable history as a 100-year-old studio. That would be fantastic. But starting January 6th, the first 6 weeks are going to be very, very interesting.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, there's a reason why people love Disney as much as they do. It's a lot of it is that history of this man who came to Los Angeles with $40 in his pocket, just scrappy dude. He changes the world with Mickey and the first animated film and theme parks and this, that, and the other. You take away the Walt of that equation, and Disney becomes Paramount.
Yeah.
Or every other studio. I mean, it's the Walt that really connects people to this company. Even the normies love it. Not as much as we do, but they do love that, and there's magic in that. And for Chapek to be like, oh, well, he's a dead guy. You know what, Chapek? Good riddance. If you said that, good riddance.
I know. I think it was what was it? Ashton the Slytherin, I believe, is the name there. She was saying that even amongst her friends who aren't like huge Disney fans, right? They don't have channels that they're talking about it all the time, but they're Disney fans enough. Even they were taken aback by Walt's inclusion in just that little portion of the enchantment pre-show there. It really did make an impact, and those are like OG said, kind of closer to the normies than they are to like the hardcores. But even they appreciate it, and I think that's right. I think that reverberates. And look, Len Testa, I believe, had an opinion piece in the New York Times where he was talking about the fandom, and it's like, listen, I understand. You can't cater to them, right? You have shareholders and you have board members and stuff like that. You can't just cater to the fans all the time. You have to kind of keep those things in perspective. But, you also want to keep them happy to a certain extent, because it's the people watching our show, for example, right? The people watching Theme Park Wizard, the people watching Theme Park Casual, the people who are inspired to write blogs and to offer content in the form of websites and so forth. We are kind of the advocates for the brand for the normies who are thinking about a Walt Disney World or Disneyland Vacation, or maybe even investing in other types of product when it comes to like the Disney Plus or the theatrical releases and so forth. So you want to keep those guys a little bit happy in order so that they can advocate for you. Chapek never understood that. I think Bob Iger does. I think we'll get closer to that. However, all things in perspective, a long way to get there before we do get there, because Iger's got to pivot away from this kind of streaming, very very kind of streaming heavy investment streaming business that they have turned themselves into, pivot away from that towards a profitable structure for the entire company, restore relationships in Hollywood. There's a lot in this plate before it gets to the theme park level, but I think when it does, I think we'll like what we see.
It's interesting that whole article that Alia brought to my attention. She was citing, Cameron Pasha, his Patreon, and they were talking about how it's a possibility that maybe Disney sells Disney Plus to Apple. Maybe they won't put the whole company up for sale, but just sell Apple Disney Plus and then license out the content to Apple and kind of make their money that way. I think that's a really good idea. And I like that. I think that could work. I really do.
It worked before. That's what they had with Netflix, right? They didn't have their own streaming service. They just licensed out their product to any number. It's like doing a linear television deal. You just license it out to whoever whether it's on some other cable network, whether it's on your cable network, you have advertisement revenue on there. You license that to Netflix, they run it, and you get a fee from it. I mean, that's how it used to work. I think it will work if they do that, because it did work.
Right.
So it could take this kind of money black hole off the balance sheet and kind of turn this whole thing around real fast. Right. I think it is up for discussion. Did you also see too, ESPN and Disney Channel, among other of their linear network channels, actually lost subscribers as well. Some of them by 3 million, some as much as 6 million. That was surprising.
I don't really know the point of the Disney Channel right now, because it's
still a thing.
Because it was created. I get it. Like in the early 80s when it was created, it made sense. It was like your one-stop shop for everything Disney. Mm-hmm. But now you don't even need it anymore because you have Disney Plus. It just doesn't make any sense to like even have it anymore.
I agree with that, and that's why they've pivoted away from Disney Channel specifically, at least in their international markets. I don't even think they're in the Disney Channel brain, business anymore necessarily. I think also Defunctland had a big old video on the Disney Channel. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I've heard fantastic reviews for it. Definitely go check it out, and I'm sure he will bring some more context to that whole kind of equation. But I think they have pivoted away from Disney Channel simply because they have an outlet in the form of Disney Plus. However, the ESPN side was the thing that kind of struck me, because that is a very their linear network division, as far as ESPN goes, has been profitable for them. To varying degrees, of course, but because of their live sports and so forth that they don't have on ESPN Plus, you would have thought that would have at least retained somewhat of their subscriber base, but they even lost on that front as well. I thought that was very interesting.
It's interesting to me that ESPN has its own streaming platform. That feels like something that you should maybe put like a tab or a title. I mean, a little card, whatever they call those little things, on Hulu or something. Like, I don't know. It feels like it would be better placed, like an ESPN Hulu, combination. I think that would work very well. I don't know why they necessarily need a separate service just for ESPN. I don't know. Seems kind of weird.
Their sports division is very, very.
I still think for the ESPN thing,
sure.
I think I mentioned it, Dre. But you don't have to make a big deal about it. Like, they don't. All they gotta do is say on their whatever streaming service ESPN's on with their own thing, just make a little tab or a little button. Sports betting. I didn't think JPEG was I had a bad idea with that. If you don't make a big if you don't make a big deal about it, almost like their Searchlight Pictures or their Touchstone, whatever pictures was like the adult brand, right? You can do the sports betting the same way. Just don't have to blab in every place. Hey, look, sports betting. You add it there, it'll catch on.
Yeah.
Don't make a big deal about it. You make some revenue. Maybe more people who like sports betting when we subscribe to the ESPN thing and get their subscribers back, and they make some more money. Well, I think it's a great.
No, you're right, Ethan. And here's the thing that's sort of like, people think like, oh, well, it's the Disney brand, they shouldn't be betting, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. It's kind of like when they bought Fox, right? What were fans worried about? They're going to water down or Disney-fy Deadpool.
Right.
When you buy some of these things, right? These studios or these entities, you have to respect those entities, as you bought them. So just because Disney bought ESPN doesn't mean that now we need Disney-fied sports. If they want to own ESPN, they got to work within the parameters of the sports community.
Yes.
And betting is part of that equation. And if they don't want to involve in that, then don't have ESPN. But,
It is. No, I personally agree, OG. I mean, that is part of the sports brand right now. Fantasy football and everything like that, that's a huge source of revenue. That's a huge business, and it's not necessarily looked at in the same way that it was before. Let's be honest here. A lot of even the Disney fans are childless adults, even among theme park goers and so forth. I think I heard a recent data point that suggested that 60% of people that went to Disneyland in a year were childless adults. That surprised me. doing this work for as long as I have. So, in the sports world, that's even more profound. I think you can absolutely get away with it. And also, too, nobody has really kind of connected Disney and ESPN in this way that maybe us fans think of it. It's kind of its own kind of separate
In
thing.
fact, they can literally say ESPN allows sports betting, and probably half the people don't even know that Disney was a part of that.
Right. No, my mom didn't. Actually, it came up the other day, and she's not a big sports person either, and I mentioned, oh yeah, they own ESPN. She goes, they do? I'm like, yeah. I mean, some people don't know, and they've owned ESPN since like 1996.
Yeah, long time.
And a lot of normies don't even know it.
Long time, yeah. A lot of them don't, and it's. I think there's a valuable brand there if you go into the sports betting world. Obviously, with restrictions, with you have to control it and regulate it somewhat. But but I think there's a way to do that safely, and that doesn't really harm the brand. Even Chapek said, brand withdrawal, not really what we're seeing. In fact, we're seeing the opposite. They expect this from that. And I think that's very accurate. The other thing, too, that Chapek did that, he had some good ideas.
He did.
That Global Dream. The numbers came out for it from the SEC filing. $41 million. Whoa, buddy. I was a champion of this. There you go, right? I was a champion of this early on. I was like, ooh, this might be a good get. This might be a good buy. You saw us. You saw me on the show, OG, when I was on. I was like, oh, I think this is a good buy. This is a good. I think this is a good move here. And sure enough, $41 million. You couldn't ship the steel for that much money.
No,
this is an absolute steal.
That's so cheap. I could buy it.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but this thing is gonna be all profits. I mean, this is crazy. They got it for like nothing. I mean, this thing is going to be
the largest cruise liners in the world for $41 million, 75% done. Now, apparently, they're going to spend like $1 billion outfitting or whatever. But still, I mean, that is a fraction of what you would have paid to build this thing from the ground up. And this would have been easily $5-6 billion if Disney had done this.
Orange World's budget.
Yeah, right. So exactly. I mean, this is so in the bag right here. I gotta commend Chapek. This is casual, not the master shipbuilder, master ship buyer. I mean, this was a good move. $41 million. This is great.
It's a good move. It's an absolutely fantastic move. And ever since I had that cruise a few weeks ago, my first one, I've really been paying more and more attention to the cruise line stuff now.
Sure.
They have a fantastic thing going on over there. They really do. And I'm excited for this massive cruise liner. And I think it's probably going to be docked out of Asia, but these ships move around a lot. The Wonder was docked in Florida for the longest time, and now it's here in California. Right. Maybe we'll see this big Golden Dream come to California. It'd be great.
I think it'd be fantastic. I think you can put these in multiple markets. Even Christine Way-Sense McCarthy herself said that, hey, there's room for growth in this segment. The margins are so much higher in this segment than they are in our other theme park related segments. This is it, man. I'm telling you, folks, to get something of this size, of this scale, for $41 million,
steal.
It's an absolute steal. 75% complete. They get to bypass all of that enormous lead time. Look, Wizard, we were just talking about coaster parts, right, for Six Flags and so forth, and how supply chain issues are what they are. That exists in every single industry. To bypass all of that headache and heartache and all that, to get this thing for pennies on the dollar, and now you just get to spend an unlimited amount of money just to spruce it up in the Disney fashion. This is a good buy.
Oh no, it's a fantastic buy. It's a fantastic buy. And Ethan, if it's docked in Asia, are they going to go to Korea? Maybe you can visit Blackpink.
Oh yes, that's right. My itinerary all ready to go.
There you go.
Oh yes.
Yeah, no, but in all seriousness, that's a fantastic deal, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I really, really am. I think it's interesting. The cruise line thing, the Disney cruise line thing, is really kind of becoming its own thing in a lot of ways. Like
it is.
It's a division. It's adjacent to the theme park thing, but it's we're getting a lot of ships now. I mean, this is like its own like entity almost, even like separate from the parks at this point.
It is. Oh, it is. It is. The Disney Parks experiences and products encompasses a lot of things, and now you have this the pseudo naval fleet in the form of the Disney Cruise Line fleet. This is absolutely fantastic. And a lot of other cruise line companies, they have a lot more ships than just the 8 that Disney will eventually have, or about 8, right? I think that's correct. So to catch up on this and to have your ships available for more markets and territories, this is a phenomenal buy for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. And I'll be riding on one of those one day, hopefully very soon.
Yes.
And all right. So wow. Look at that. A quick 2 hours and 4 minutes. It's almost as long as an Avatar movie.
Yeah, almost. Give us another hour, then we'll get there.
Then we'll get to Avatar 2 there. Let's go.
This one we don't have a $400 million production budget, so that's okay. Our production budget is free. So where can we find the both of you? Well, Dre and OG and Dre again.
Yes.
Go ahead,
okay. So best place to find me is going to be on Twitter at VashSky. It's right down there, just like it's spelled, for all the as Christine Wastelands McCarthy would say, for all the discussion right there. OG, since you're here, my friend, my pal, my compatriot, do you have that Walt clip for me?
I got that drop. Take it away, Walt.
And there's the biggest bargain of all.
The biggest bargain of all, indeed. I think what he was talking about, though, was the biggest bundle of all, and that's going to be found on OG55, Orange Grove 55, YouTube channel to be exact, where you can find shows like Citrus Corner from our buddy Disney Family Man George 23. We can find our esteemed host, OG55 himself, over there for shows like Orange Nerd and so forth. You can find my show there at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info squeezed fresh right from the Grove. All right there. Give that a subscribe and give this channel a subscribe.
Yes.
Park Wizard, he does phenomenal coverage. I mean, this guy, he's got footage that even Universal's looking at. Like, oh my God, this is some good stuff.
Yes.
Definitely subscribe here for your latest updates regarding Universal, Disney, all that kind of stuff, all your theme park content. And I think that'll about do it.
And don't forget about the second biggest bundle of all, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus.
There you go.
For $14.99 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
OG, where can they find you?
And they can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, where we make all kinds of content in regards to theme parks, movies, TV, streaming, even the corporate end of things with all the Bobby Chapek, Bobby Iger dramas, all that stuff. You can find us again, Orange Grove 55, where I'm joined by this guy, Mr. VashSky, all the time. He is my producer.
And the Disney George.
And the Disney Family Man 23. I love these gentlemen. I love you, Ethan. Subscribe to Theme Park Wizard. And before we close it out, Ethan,
And now your host,
Theme Park Wizard.
That's right. Peace out, homie.